This needs to be said, Sniper Elite is not a tactical shooter or a sniper simulator. It's an action game that instead focuses on long-range combat in place of run-and-gun gameplay. This game gets a pretty unfair rap today for not being authentic enough, but if you play it as Hitman meets COD, then you're gonna have a good time. Instead of starting at the beginning or the middle of World War II, you play at the very end in Berlin. The war is effectively over for the Germans, but the new Cold War has just begun between the East and West. You play as Karl Fairburne, a special operative and highly skilled marksman tasked to sneak into the urban battlefield and stop the Russians from obtaining Germany's WMD secrets. Not to give anything away, but you're going to be fighting Russians more often than not. And this may seem a bit boring considering how overused this trope has become in gaming, but hey, it's worth grin and bearing for the meat and potatoes of the game. Narrative driven is not. If you're expecting hyper-realistic ballistics or nerve-wracking patience, this is not it. The game almost encourages moving and shooting with your rifle, which may seem odd for a high-powered scope weapon, but that's the action element of the game. You move into one position, headshot a few dudes, then move into another before being overwhelmed. The numbers are against you most of the time, and you can die pretty fast. Quickly hunkering down and pulling off a long-range headshot is necessary in a firefight. Though absolutely unrealistic, it's shamefully fun. A headshot shows a really cool animation of the bullet travelling before impacting in a shower of blood and gore. It happens a lot, but since it requires some skill, it always gives a nice sense of satisfaction. Those at the time can try pull off some more impressive kills. You don't really get anything for being a good marksman besides points at the end of each mission. There's no unlocks or skills to invest into, which could have given a more dynamic approach to the levels. Speaking of which, the multiple missions you want to take vary drastically in length. At the start, a briefing informs you on your overall goals you must complete. From then on, it can branch out across levels from resource gathering, supporting other operatives, exploring the environment, or completing some of the objectives, be it collecting sensitive info or destroying enemy forces. The maps are quite large and often allow different ways to approach an objective. Finding a vantage point to snipe from, setting ambushes, blowing up gas tanks on vehicles causing mayhem around them is absolutely glorious if pulled off correctly. Graphically it looks okay, the detail's low but it runs well and the body animations hold up. The sound is rather atmospheric with gunfire and screams echoing across the map. Overall I think they did a good job recreating Berlin, but I dislike the reused geometry. You'll constantly see the same wooden barricades on every street you go into. But it seems that Sniper Elite is very inconsistent with its gameplay and level design. The stealth system in the game shows a severe lack of polish and testing. So you have a camouflage percentage, okay, showing invisibility, but it fluctuates so randomly and makes very little practical sense. So apparently while in direct light are more camouflaged than being in direct shadow. What? The game tells you can silence your shots by firing during a loud noise. Okay, but even when the game tells me I did a covert shot, I still get immediately spotted by enemies far away. If you do get spotted, they won't stop searching until you or they die. The stealth is almost unnecessary. The game tries to force it, but most of the time you can ignore it and go guns blazing. Some levels are cramped interiors that stop any way to get around enemies, so you have to plug them like the rest. Across the game you can pick up an extra weapon besides a sniper rifle and pistol. These are types of submachine guns and light machine guns. They're powerful and accurate, and should be a welcome addition to boost up your firepower. They should be, but they're not. With your rifle, the scope allows accurate firing, not the case with secondary weaponry. You have a clunky auto aim that you have to rely on. This should have been solved with a first-person zoom feature like in Ghost Recon, but no such luck. It's jarring, going from manually controlling a long-range rifle to the stiff and forced lock-on. It makes it really hard to use all these extra weapons without taking a lot of damage while trying to line up a shot correctly. A big frustration is that the game teases you with a metric ton of ammo. Seriously, you can hold a machine gun, a rocket launcher and a rifle at the same time and shoot it while sprinting. But if you dare rush an enemy, you'll be gunned down immediately. Greater control of your weaponry would have improved combat a lot. Thankfully, the game follows a Hitman save checkpoint system. You have a number of saves per level, which helps ease the frustration and death. But it's the sniping that takes center stage here. Who cares that throwable weapons are near useless since they bounce off the smallest object, when you have a sniper battle across the map, or destroy a tank with one bullet? Sniper Elite is a good game depending on what you're expecting. I got a solid and gory action game, so I'm more than confident to recommend it to shooter fans ready to aim high with steady hands, or something clever like that.